Good morning, everyone. Please, can you confirm you can hear me from your end in the chat session? Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. All right. All right. Hope we have the energy for today's class, right? Okay. Before we start today's class, let's try and mark attendance. Let's try and make ourselves uh, appear in the list of the attendance, right? So by scanning this QR code, you can see on your screen. Yeah, so if we scan this QR code that we can see on our screen, and we use that to mark attendance. So we can do that for the next 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay, awesome, awesome. That's great. Can we use the chat session? How many of us have marked the attendance this morning before we proceed? If you have, you can just put an emoji there signifying that you have actually scanned the QR code. And awesome, awesome. Great. So we are good to go. Okay. All right. So I'm pulling this down now. Okay. Good morning once again. So this is the notebook that we'll be using this morning for introductory machine learning. All right. We have a lot to cover this morning, and I hope we'll be able to do one or two things from your end as well, right? So if you have access to a laptop there, to be great if you can code along with me, you know. Okay, once again, welcome this morning. And at the end of today's session, you should be able to perform basic data visualization tasks, plot simple graph, and understand how to deal with missing value, which is very, very important in machine learning, right? Okay. Before we proceed, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Bamigbade Opeyemi. I'm a data scientist and machine learning engineer and a researcher at Data Science Nigeria. And yeah, so that's just about me. And so before we proceed once more, we have to be aware of the kind of tools that we can use for data visualization. Please, can you signify in the chat session if the screen if you can see the screen well from your end, like if the screen is well positioned? Can you read every word on my screen? Okay, Jamil said, can it be zoomed? I've already zoomed out already. Is this better now? Is this better? Okay, awesome, awesome. Okay, great. So once more, we will perform basic data visualization tasks. We will plot simple graph and understand how to deal with missing values. One thing that distinguishes a good data scientist and a bad data scientist is nothing other than how to interrogate data, how to torture data, how to get what you want from data. And one way of doing that is by doing data visualization. Trust me, you know that you tend to remember most of the things you've seen with your eye rather than stuff that you've had, isn't it? So if you can do a lot of data visualization, right? If you can do a lot of data visualization, then it will be easier for you to see the hidden patterns in data, right? It will be easier for you to see hidden patterns in data. Also, it will be easier for you to do some advanced and make some decision on the data. You know, if you can see the hidden patterns in data, then you can make decisions based on what you've seen, isn't it? So that's the beauty thing about data visualization. You tend to see what you are making decision on, right? So data visualization is very, very important in machine learning, like very, very important. And the end product of machine learning is not just only the predictive power that it has, but also if you can have a dashboard to visualize some insight from the data to the business stakeholders and the likes of it, that is also something very great. So don't see data visualization in machine learning as something you can just overlook. No, it is very, very important once more. Okay, so now I'm excited about this session, and I'm very, very sure you yourself also you are excited about it. Okay, somebody's asking, then why do we still need Power BI? Oh, like I said, we have many tools that we use in data visualization. Some prefer to use Microsoft Excel. Some prefer to use pure programming, which is what we are going to be doing today. If you want to be a data scientist, you should know how to program, because at the end of the day, you'll be building predictive models. So wouldn't it be nice if you can do your data visualization and your predictive model, data analysis and everything in just one single environment, right? Okay, that's great. So Olanike already agree with me on that we need Power BI though for business analysis, right? But when it comes to you building predictive model based on the visualization you've done, then programming is the way to go, right? So anyone you can use is fine to do your preliminary data visualization, right? And you can also have it in production as well. Okay, that's awesome. So some of the tools that we can use for data visualization includes the Matplotlib, and trust me, Matplotlib has been there even from the onset of using MATLAB. You know, how many of us know MATLAB? MATLAB, yeah, it's an environment for is also a programming language as well, right? Okay, awesome, that's great. So there are many tools you can use to do your data visualization. You are not limited to just Matplotlib, but Matplotlib have a great functions and tools that you can use within it to do fantastic work, data visualization. And a lot of libraries are built on this Matplotlib. One of them is Seaborn. Seaborn is built on top of Matplotlib, so you can also use Seaborn to do data visualization. Everything under here are all in Python. They are all Python libraries that you can use for what? Data visualization. So Seaborn is one of them. ggplot is also a fantastic one. Oh, Boki is awesome. Like if you lay your hands on Boki on data visualization, you will enjoy it. And Plotly is all about interactive data visualization. You know, if you can do some data visualization and you can interact with it, you will tend to what? To enjoy it, right? Okay. Okay, so somebody said that this theme is too dark. So let me try and change it back to light theme, right? Okay, I'll change this back to light theme now so that we can see it very well. Okay, Jupyter theme, let's change it back to light. Okay, is this better now? Can I have some feedback in the chat session if you prefer this light scheme to the dark one? Okay. Oh, somebody said the dark is better. Okay, can I have one, or can I have more people to before we make decision on that? Because the way you see the screen really, really matters this morning, so that you can get everything out of what we are trying to, Okay, this is okay. Bright is better. Okay, dark is better. Okay, fine. I think we all have our preferences, so we'll just stick to the white one, right? Let's just stick to this white one. Okay, the light is better. Any is okay. Awesome. Okay, so without wasting much time, so again, we can use Seaborn, we can use ggplot, and I was talking of Plotly. Plotly is awesome. Like with Plotly, you can do a lot of interactive data visualization. Imagine you visualize a data using probably histogram, and you can over on the histogram to see corresponding values based on wherever your mouse cursor is, or mouse pointer rather, right? So that one is strictly for what? Interactive what? Interactive data visualization. In fact, I need to show you how awesome Plotly is now. If I go on Google and I do Plotly, right? And I do Plotly, right? And I go to their official site, what you can see here is what? A bunch of code and a lot of people that have adopted Plotly. These are the kind of fantastic graph and fantastic visualization you can do with what? With Plotly, right? Okay. Now, if I go back to one of these example, for instance, if I go to one of these example, for instance, why that is loading. Okay, look at this fantastic dashboard. Can you see this dashboard now? This is built with what? Plotly, right? And what we mean by what? Interactivity is I over my mouse on any of the visualization, I can see the corresponding hidden information. Can you see this? The way I over on it, there are some information that are popping out of that, right? That's what we mean by interactive what? Data visualization, right? Okay, and can you see this? I can zoom in, I can zoom out. So that is how fantastic what? Fantastic Plotly is. And also, we also have Pyga. Pyga is also great, and Attire is also awesome, right? So everything you see here, they are all Python libraries that you can use for what? Data visualization. And it would be great if you can start with Matplotlib, then move on to what? To Seaborn. Both Seaborn is also a static what? Data visualization. ggplot is a bit static and interactive. Bouquet is interactive, Plotly is interactive. So before you jump to the interactive ones, you have to learn the static one first. And that is why we are starting with Matplotlib. If you understand the basic concept of Matplotlib, then picking every other one should not be difficult for you, right? Awesome. Okay, now, some common terms in Matplotlib's implementation are, that is, when you are using Matplotlib for your data visualization, there are some terms or some parameters that you need to be aware of, right? One of them is Figo. The other is axis. It's very, very important you take note of these parameters. The figure in this sense is a whole figure which contain one or more than one axis. That is, it is the plot itself. The figure represents the plot, right? You can think of the figure as a canvas that contains plots, right? So see it like your secondary school or your university, your university or your graph sheet. So the graph sheets stand like your what? Like your figure in Matplotlib in this case, where you tend to plot or do your visualization when it comes to Matplotlib. So it is the canvas on which figures and visualizations are done, right? So you have to be aware of that word figure, because the way you set your figure determines how great your visualization will look, you know. So that is very, very important. Also, we have the axis. The axis, it is what we generally think of as the plot, right? That one seems to be, now there's a kind of confusion between the figure and the what? And the axis. Again, the figure is like the canvas, right? The canvas in the sense that it is upon which you do your what? Your data visualization. Now, the visualization you've done, the plot you've done, can be referred to as the axis, right? So as the plot itself, right? So a figure can contain many axes. What does it mean? It means it can contain many plots, many visualization. That is, you can think of it like a graph sheet. You can have different graphs on the same graph sheet, right? So that's the same way you can have different axes on the same figure in Matplotlib. So it contains 2, 3 in the case of 3D. Well, for the case of for this class this morning, we won't be doing any 3D visualization. We'll stick to what? The 2D visualization, because that's the basic and fundamental part of what? Data visualization. If you understand the 2D visualization very well, then expanding on 3D will not be difficult for you to do, right? So that's why we always start with the fundamentals, the basics, so that once you get the basics right, you can then expand on it to go to the complex one. And trust me, 3D is not complex. It's just 1 or 2 lines of code and your 3D plot is out. But interpreting a 3D plot can be cumbersome if you don't understand 2D interpretation, right? Awesome. So each axis has its axis, right? They are the number line like objects and take care of generating the graph limits, right? So the axis, how you set the axis, and I can have my canvas, which is the figure, and I set a subplot of 4, then each of those 4 can be my axis, my figures, right? Then the way I set it determines how my data visualization we go, right? And yeah, so let's quickly jump into code. I'm very sure we are not new to Matplotlib now again. At least we know 1 or 2 things about Matplotlib. Can somebody say in this chat session, what do you know about Matplotlib so far from this class this morning? Everything, your answer should come from this class we've done this morning so far. What do you know about Matplotlib before we start jumping into code? I want to know, like, just in 1 sentence, or you want to just give me a simple word about Matplotlib, right? Something I can find in Matplotlib, what I can achieve with Matplotlib, maybe the type of chart I can. Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. Somebody said for coding simple graph. Well, that's great. We can also use it to code complex graph. Okay, a Python library used for data visualization. Awesome, awesome. An important tool for data visualization. Seed, that's ordinary. That's so good of you. Olu Kule Ojalade, that's fantastic. Okay. Okay, Rashida, Matplotlib is a Python library. Great, great, great. We have a lot of brilliant folks here. That's good. Okay, it is used to make static graph. Awesome, good, good. So you know the difference between static graph and let's say dynamic or interactive graph now. That's great. Okay, graph representation of data. Awesome, awesome. That is from Mohammed Husseini. Okay, Olanike Olabi said you need to understand the difference between figure and axis. That is the takeaway for me now. That is the takeaway for me. If I can understand the difference between figure and axis, I can manipulate anything on my chart. Okay, Frank Uno said that if I need to plot any graph, I think of Matplotlib. Somebody's already making decision already. That's fantastic. Okay, let's continue. Now, this on our Jupyter notebook, we can bring in Matplotlib since it's an external library. So we import Matplotlib, and what we need from Matplotlib, we have a lot of okay, let me just show you what we can do to know that we have a lot of things around Matplotlib. So if I import just Matplotlib, look at this, import Matplotlib, then I do dir and I say Matplotlib. Let's see things that we have in Matplotlib so that you know that Matplotlib is not just some. Can you see the whole bunch of things that we have inside Matplotlib? Can you see this? Can you see this? I keep strolling, I keep strolling, I keep strolling. There are many, right? And one of them that we are actually going to be exploring is this guy. And that is the word. Can you see it even has its own NumPy in it? NumPy is just numerical Python. For those that doesn't know, for those that don't know rather, it also has its own pyplot. So it is this pyplot that we are going to use this morning. So that is why at the front we have it to the what? We are importing matplotlib.pyplot. That's this. We don't want everything, but we just need a pyplot, and we are renaming it as what? As PLT. So our matplotlib representation now will be we will be using the PLT to represent the pyplot found in what? In Matplotlib. Is that understood? Okay. And also we need NumPy to generate some synthetic data. That is, for you to do data visualization, you have to have data. What are you visualizing without data, right? So we need NumPy to synthesize some data for us that we can use to do data visualization. So we've imported the 2 libraries, and now we just need to do some simple plots. And it's as simple as PLT from PyPlot, PLT from Matplotlib, which is PyPlot, dot plot, right? If you want to know a lot of things that you can do with PLT, you can do PLT dot, then you press tab, right? If I press tab, I'll see a lot of things I can do with what? With PLT. Can you see this? you press you type plt.plot, then you hit the tab key on your keyboard. So I can draw, or there are a lot of them, but what we want to do is just to plot this morning, right? So one of them is the plot, which is this. Can you see this? Dot plot. So this is the dot plot that we are using this morning. Okay. So dot plot, and when we are plotting, we can know the arguments that dot plot that we can use on dot plot, right? So if you see the dot plot now, you will see that it requires some arguments, right? And some of the argument is the what? If you check the definition of argument, they've given you an example here: plot x comma y, plot x comma y by using boo, like bo as your what? As your marker, right? Or just plot ordinary y, plot y using x as index, right? So it depends. So now I'm plotting, this represent my x, this list here. I believe you've done basic Python class awesome before we get to machine learning. I'm very sure of that. So I'm plotting these two lists. This represent my x. In fact, let me cut this out so that it looks more mature, right? Let's see, x is equals to this, and y is equals to this. Let's just say y is equals to this, right? So if I put this as x and I put this as y, I need to run this cell first. Okay, I put it as x and I put the other as y. If I remove this plt.show and I plot, you'll see that I have the plot of that x against y. This is just a linear plot, a linear graph, right? And again, if you look at this, what we have here is our canvas, right? Everything here is our canvas, and our canvas is the same thing as what? As our figure. Don't forget, this line is not a figure. No, it's not a figure. This here, the boundary here is the figure, right? But what we have as this line is our axis, right? Is our what? Is our axis, which represents the figure, right? Now, but we don't want to be seeing all this information about this, and it's telling us that what we have done is just a line of what? In 2 dimensions, and it is stored in this memory in our computer, right? But we don't want to be seeing all this information. So if I put plt.show, that information goes away, right? So plt.show means that show me the figure that you plotted with what? With Matplotlib. And that is what the plt.show has done, right? If I check the argument for plt.show, I can just say that, okay, I can put some values here, but that is not actually the essence of this course. So you can see how we can use Matplotlib to do simple plots already, right? Okay, I have something in the chat session. If you have any question, okay, awesome. Okay, now that's that. Now, if I had a marker to this and I put RO there, I have an error, right? But if I check what we have in the argument, you will see that I have an example here that says that I can use this as my marker, right? So if I put BO there and I run, you can see now that that straight line that was there before has not changed to what? Point values. That is 1,2 is here, 2,4 is here, and it goes like that, right? This has now changed from line plot to a scatter plot, right? So what you can do, because Matplotlib is very wide, right? So any function you lay your hands on in the Matplotlib, you can check the official documentation to know what you can achieve with such thing, right? So for instance, once I put my cursor here and I press Shift Tab, I see everything that I can what? I can pass as arguments to what? To plot, right? And also you will see that I have some examples here, right? I have some examples here that I can just, copy and paste it there to see how it looks like, right? So if I take this guy now, if I take Geodash and I replace the BO as that, it gives me this. Can you see this? That is, give me the data points and also connect them with lines. So it's endless. Like what you can achieve with Matplotlib is much, and the more you explore, the more you get to know what you can achieve with Matplotlib. Okay, so that's that about that. And now we've done some simple plots. So now let's go to some complex one. Again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as X, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 as Y. But here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 4, 6. So we don't need any of this repetition again. We just put X, comma what? Comma Y there, right? So in this case now, we are setting some stuff on the canvas now, right? We have a plt.plot X against Y. If I remove this, if I remove every line of code here, and I run this, I have my straight line back. But setting the title of the canvas, like you want to know the title of this canvas, like you want to, so for instance, you can't just draw a graph. Is it a graph of X, comma Y? Is it a quadratic graph or something? So what are you visualizing? So it's very, very good to have the title. So I put the title there, and the title now is my first plot. Oh, no. Is this our first plot? No, I think this is our second plot now, right? So let's change that. Let's change that to second plot, right? My second, awesome. I like to, you have to feel what you're actually doing with Matplotlib for you to enjoy. My second what? Awesome plot, right? My second awesome plot. Okay, I have some things in chat session. Okay, somebody's asking, what shortcut are you using to check the argument and function? Oh, I just mentioned it now. Okay, awesome. Baba today just says try Shift Tab. So anytime you are in Python environment, and whatever function or class you are using, if the writer of that function or class have put in some doc string, some documentation, you can access it with Shift Tab. So this is the doc string. Everything that comes under here is the doc string. This is signature of the what? Of the function. You don't need to cram anything. For instance, let's just quickly deviate a bit. If I put in def visualize, that takes in a parameter of let's say data. I need a data parameter, and I go into here and I put a doc string. This is how to put doc string, and I put this function. This func is used to visualize, let's just say to visualize a simple straight what? Straight line. That's the documentation, right? Okay, and I just say, for this case, I just want to pass the function, like we're not actually implementing this function. Now, if I define this function, and somebody wants to use this function in the nearest feature, and then you type visualize, can you see this? And I put the curly bracket there, and I press Shift Tab. Can you see the information you can see now? What I've written as a doc string is showing like this function is used to visualize simple straight line, right? Can you see? And it's telling me the type of what? A type of function. So the information, let me just comment this guy out, and comment this guy, we don't need it. Now, the information you can get out of the plot has been written by the what? By the developers of Matplotlib. So all this doc string has been written for you, and they are the documentation, and you can access it through Shift Tab. Okay, I still have some question there. Please, I would like to see X and Y variable. Oh, you can see X and Y variable. This is X and Y. Can we quickly do that? X is what? 1, 2, 3, up to 5. And Y is just even numbers from 2 to 10. Okay, excuse me. Okay, any other question before we move ahead? Okay, this session isn't being recorded. Can you please initiate that from your end? Okay, let me record it. We want to record this session. Record to this computer. Okay, we are recording already, right? We are recording. Awesome. Who was that? That is okay, you can also access it on YouTube. Anyway, you can access it on YouTube. So that's that about that. Okay, so I think you have your X and Y now. Awesome. So we can move ahead. Now, again, we can set the title of the word of the plot as what plt.plot. I mean plt.title. Again, I told you that if you don't need to cram any of these things in your head. No, the more you use, the more you get to be conversant with them, right? So, and again, if I want to just know what I can call on plt, I'll just type plt dot, and I press my tab. These are everything I can call on the plt dot plt, everything here, right? And Y label, X label, X tick, X label. Can you see this X label we are using is part of it? Y label, and they are just there for you to explore. You just need to go and check them out. And another way to be a good programmer and be a good data scientist is working with documentation. Very, very important. Like from the beginning of your career in data science, try to always work with documentation. Aside what you have been taught or what I've exposed in this class now, if I go to the official documentation of Matplotlib, for instance, Matplotlib documentation, it's very important you know how to access the documentation. So this is the documentation of Matplotlib, right? Yeah, this one can be a bit tedious, but if I search here, plot, there are a lot of plots here. Can you see pie plots? Then I can start seeing what I can do with pie plots. Can you see? And this is documentation. And this should be your first go-to when you encounter any problem with Matplotlib. Go back to the documentation. That's the user manual, right? Okay. I see I have something in the chat session. I plotted the graph with the variable, but I got a plot different from yours. Really? Okay, it would be great if you can just screenshot your plot and put it on this chat session. You know, you can screenshot it and send it to the chat session so I can see what you're talking about. So from there, we can see what is going on from your end. Okay, so now I can set the X label. This is the X axis. In this case, let me just check. Okay, we can leave it. And the Y label, this is the Y axis, and we do plot the show, and we run this, we have this line. Okay, this line is a straight line, but I think I enjoy using the marker. Let me put G dash dash, right? Go dash dash. I enjoy seeing it in that. Yeah, I like it this way. I like it this way. So that's that. Okay, so we've done it like that. And also we can now move ahead. We can also specify the size of the graph using the figure. Again, who can remind me what the figure is again? The figure is the what? I just want to know if somebody is following this morning. Can somebody remind me the meaning of this word figure in Matplotlib? Okay, so I have some in chat. Canvas. Okay, awesome. So the canvas, that's great. Zion, that's great. Bethel, that's great. Okay. One or more axes. Okay, that's great, Ibrahim. So this canvas here, this boundary, that's the figure. Now, can we resize that figure? You know, can I have my chart to occupy the entire screen or smaller than what it actually looks like now? And the way I can achieve that is what? Using the figure function, right? I'm passing the value as tuple, that is number of rows and number of columns. Can you see now? So if I plt.figure and my figure size, I want my figure size to be what? 15 by what? 15 by 5. It means use 15 rows and use 5 columns. So if I run this cell, you can see now that it's a big one now. It's a big plot because I'm using 15 rows. I'm using what? 5 by what? 15 by 5, and that represents what? Rows and column. So this 15 represent the what? The column and rows. So I'm using 5 rows like this, and I'm using 15 columns. That is why it is stretching like this, right? So if I decide to change it the other way around, this chart will be funny. To be funny now, let's put it to 15 by 5. It's going to be long downward. Can you see this? So can you see that you can manipulate the canvas? The plot the axis, which is the plot, is not changing, but the canvas is changing, right? So that can help you to organize your visualization in on the screen, right? So let's go back to what we had there before and run it back. And yeah, here we go. And again, let's do that. Okay, we have G here. Let's just leave it there. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, now that is that about that. Changing the figure size. Again, we have now let's synthesize some data. Excuse me. Let's synthesize some data. I need to stop this. Okay. Just a second. Okay. Yeah, so I'm back. So we want to synthesize some data now. We are using NumPy to what? To get some synthetic data, that is some random data. Now, if I have np.array, what does np? Np, don't forget, np is what? Is our NumPy. We imported it from here. We imported NumPy as what? As np, which is numeric Python, right? So then the arrange function, I can check what it does. What it does is take a start and a stop and a step. It returns even space values within a given interval. So let's even play with it. Let's say np dot arrange, and we put our start from 0, stop at probably 20, but I want the step to be in 5. That is every 5. Can you see now? My answer is giving me start with 0, increase it by 5 until you get to what? 20. But in Python, the upper limit is not inclusive in Python. That is why 20 is not part of this list, right? So if I increase this by reducing the step size, I'll have bunch of what? Bunch of values, right? So it's just for me to have evenly distributed numbers in what? In from a particular range, for a particular range of value, right? So that's that about np.arrange, and I can print x out. I have a lot here. I can print x out. So x is what? Number ranging from 0 to where? To 10, and what? With a step of 0.2. And y is just the sign of what? The sign of x. That is, the first number here is 0. What is sign 0? Sign 0 is a value, right? Which is 0. So the first value in y should be 0, and that is, I mean, sin 90 is 1. So sign 0 should be what? Should be 0, I think. Let's just check it. np sign 0. Okay, it's 0. So the first value of what? Of y will be 0, right? So it takes all the values of x and perform the sign operation on them, and we save that as y. So we have our new x and y now, right? And now we can go ahead and go to what? Z. Z is the third axis now, and we are just doing np.cos of x, right? So we have x, y, z as our new what? As our new data. Okay, now the plot we are doing here is just a plot of x and y first. Then we're now plotting x against z. This is an interesting one. It means you can have several plots on the same axis. On the same axis, or rather on the same figure. We have a figure here. We have this figure, and we have two plots here. First, the plot of this against this, which is stated in what? In green. And the second is a plot of this against this, which is what? Stated in what? In blue. And that's what we have here. Now, we are trying to achieve the same result, the same simulation, with what? With some complex what? Operation with sine and cos. This is just a way to just have some randomized what? Randomized data I told you from the onset that these are just synthetic data. In real life, you'll be working with real life data, like a complete Excel sheet that has different attributes such as probably customer age, customer height, and the likes of them. But now we don't want to get into that. We just want to use synthetic data for now. Somebody said too fast, so please repeat the bumper. What? I don't know what you mean by bumper. we are using numpy. Rachel, we are using numpy, not bumpy. Okay, that should be like a typographical error. So okay, so you want me to repeat the numpy. Okay, so the numpy is numeric what? Python. It is used to achieve some mathematical operation in Python. It's just a library, right? So what we are doing is we want to generate numbers from starting with 0 up to 20, but we don't want, manually. We did this one manually. We were putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We typed this manually, but we have a function with what? With numpy that can help us do that. We just say numpy arrange means generate or something. Arrange numbers from 0 up to 10 and use an increment or a step or probably 1, right? So if I do that, I will have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to 9. And I told you the reason why we are stopping at 9 is because of how Python behaves. Python will include the lower boundary, which is 0, but exclude the upper boundary, which is what? Which is 10. Do we get that now? Rachel, if you get that in the from what I've explained now, please can you just signify in the chat session? Let me know that we are following before we move ahead. Excuse me. Okay. Oh, awesome. Okay, so Rachel is back with us now. Awesome. So that's great. So that's how the numpy array works. I mean, numpy.arrange works. And we've used that to generate values for X. We've used it to generate values for Y, and we've used it to generate values for what? Z. Now we want to have two plots. Number one, on the same what? On the same canvas. So number one, we are plotting X against Y. And the second figure is what? X against what? Against Z. That's what we have here. So PLT, we are doing some X labeling. That is, on the X axis, the label is what? Number between 1 and 10. Y axis is the function of the number, and the title is sine and cosine graph. So if I hit this shift enter, I have my X here, I have my Y, and I have my Z. But this is the graph, right? So we have the graph. This is the number we generated, right? And X is just between 0 to 10. Now, Y varies from -1 to 1 because our values here varies from -1 to 1. Now, one of this graph is the sine graph, while the other is the what? Is the cos graph. I think I have another question in the chat session. Okay, understand. Okay. One of them is the sine graph, while the other is the what? Is the cosine graph. So the one with the sine graph is the what? Is highlighted in blue, right? Okay. Joshua, you're raising your hand. Okay. Okay. Joshua, please go ahead. Ask your question in the chat session. Okay, mind going through that particular cell again. Oh, you are okay. So you are coding along. Fantastic. Okay, let's go back there. Let's go back. Okay, this is what I have. So I will leave this here for the next 30 seconds for you to also type this from your end. I'm leaving it for the next 30 seconds so that if you're coding along, I want you to type this on your computer and what? So that we can be having the same result. Okay. I have another thing in the chat session. Looks good from my end. Okay. So we can move ahead then. Okay, so we can move ahead. Thank you. Somebody said error message. Bumpy has no attribute arrange. You spelled is not double R, it's a single R. NumPy, and please, it's not bumpy. It's NumPy, please. It's not bumpy. NUMPY. That's NumPy, not bumpy. There's not. Let's even check if there's anything like bumpy. Let's check. Do we have anything like bumpy? Okay. Bumpy. Please. Bumpy is not related to what? It's not related to Python. What we are doing is what? Is NumPy, please. NumPy. And oh, okay. Awesome. Okay. So that's that about that. We plotted X against Y and we plotted Z against D. We can do another plot. You know, I can still plot X against, let's say, tan. You know, oh, did I just put tan only? MP dot tan of what? Or probably let us say X, you know, probably X. And we run this again. Now we have both the sine, the cos, and the what? And the tangent of the plot, right? And we can just add that to our what? Our sine, cosine, you know, sine, cosine, and what? And tangent graph. What did I spell that like that? Tangent. Or let's just put it tan, right? And tan graph, and we can just include cosine and what? And tan here as a string value, right? Somebody's raising his hand. Okay, arrange is different from arrange, causing error. Please, interesting. Yeah, you have to know that you have to be calling the right function. There are two different things. But with double R is different from a single R, right? Okay, so we've changed the figure and now we are having three figures. I mean, we're having three axes on a single what? On a single figure. And don't forget, we can just change the what? The way we did here. We can just put plt.figure to have something bigger on the screen, right? Okay, on the screen. So let's just put let's put it here. I want it to be big. Aha, so it's bigger now, right? So this is bigger. Okay, so we have the tan graph, the sine graph, and we have the cosine graph. So this is just little things you can do with what? With Matplotlib. And let's just assume that we are not dealing with sine graph, cosine graph, and tan graph, and we are dealing with some industrial data now. Probably we are looking at we are looking at the number of likes in a movie, right? The number of, let's say that the green line represents the number of likes for a particular movie for like 10 months in a year, right? So let's use x-axis to represent 10 different months in the calendar, and our green line represents number of likes. Let's say that our what color is this? This looks like orange. Our orange line, let's say it represents number of views. That is, those are actually view the movie. And let's say that our blue line represents number of clicks. Like, you know, some will just click the movie and they look at it, but they don't actually view the movie at the end of the day. So number of clicks. So we can see probably at the first month when the movie came out, the number of views was almost the same thing with number of likes and number of clicks. But at some point towards the second month of the number of views just dropped. Like number of views of that movie just dropped, but people that are actually still clicking on that movie, they still click on it to see what's this movie even still about. And at the end of the day, they find out, okay, and maybe the company do some kind of what advertisement again about the movie, some promotion about the movie, and number of views just go back up, boom. And yeah, this is a good business for the company, right? Okay. And it goes again. Now, the number of views, people don't even want to just click it again. They're just going straight to view it. Like, just give me the link. I want to go and watch that movie. So they just go and watch the movie. But at some point, it gets to another what? A saturated point, and it's to start going down again. Can you see how fantastic this could be when you are kind of relating it to a real life data? That's just a scenario I just gave you now. Okay, let's see somebody saying something. Okay, together. I need to look at what I did to make the tangent graph show, because on my side is the sine and cosine graph show. Okay, you want to see that? This is what it looks like. I just added the third argument, x comma np dot tangent of x, right? Okay, Joshua, you're still raising your hand. Do you still have any other question? Okay. What's up with the G and B? You're just using it to signify, to signify the color of the line of the plot. So G represents what? Green, and B represents blue. What's their function? I just explained that now. Without them, okay, let's remove them. If you don't want us to add them to it, we can remove them. For instance, look at this. I remove this. If I remove this now, and I also remove this, and I run, can you see my plots now? By default, it is blue and what? And orange that Matplotlib uses to differentiate between different plots. But here you said you want one to be green and the other one to be blue. And now if I run it, it changes to green and changes to blue. Okay, understood. All right, that's good. Okay, so going back to what we were discussing. Yeah, so you can see that this is just a synthetic data, but we just what? Added some attribute to it now and make it look as if it's some real life data in terms of the what? The movie example, right? In terms of what? The movie example that we just mentioned now, that imagine that these three lines represent three different things. The company is trying to see those that are viewing their what? That are viewing their film, that is, that are watching their film, and those that are just coming to the website and just liking the film. They just want to like it, but they don't want to watch it. Of course, if you like the movie, it means you must have watched it as well. Then, or you must have watched the trailer. Then the other one is just do that, just click the link, but did not like or did not end up watching the movie. And you can see that at the beginning of that, the tangent is doing very well. Like it was going up. People were really watching the movie. More like, which movie should we use now? Probably, let's say, let's use a simple movie. Probably, which movie? Which movie should we use? Which movie should we use? Let's use Thanos movie. Thanos? Is it Thanos movie? What's the name of that movie again? Okay, King of Boys. Somebody said King of Boys. Why not King of Girls? Titanic. Titanic is okay. Titanic is universal. Okay, somebody we will use King of Girls later. So Titanic is better. So at the beginning, when the movie dropped, a lot of people are watching Titanic, but maybe some people just prefer action movie. And at the end of the day, they saw that people's comments on the Titanic is just a lot of drama, romance, and tragedy and likes of it. But somebody like probably Shegun wants some real action movie, like, so the view numbers just dropped. Maybe Shegun just went ahead and put some comments there that I wish this was more of an action movie than just a tragedy, tragicomedy or something. And the number of views just dropped. Pew. But the company just came up with some promotion techniques, like give it some maybe good flyers, rebranding, and likes of it. And number of views just went back up. Maybe some celebrity just comment on the movie that Titanic is the best movie of lifetime. If you have not seen Titanic, you are missing out. Then everybody started rushing back to go and see Titanic. Then it went up and it went up, and people started liking and likes of it. At the end of the day, they will end up doing the number of people that watch equivalent to number of people that like and likes of it. So this is just we trying to simulate that our data is not just some sine, cosine, and tangent. We're just trying to relate it to some real life scenario, and that's what you'll be doing. That is exactly what you will be doing in the industry when you have a good data and you're doing your data visualization. So imagine I'm going through all these numbers here, and I'm trying to see the trend of people that are liking our movies and people that are what? People that are just watching the movie without, I want to see. You will agree with me that it will be very, very difficult for me to see the patterns in just these values. Very difficult. But at a glance in the chart here or in the plot here, I can see and make decision immediately. Like for this month that came down, I can quickly ask, what happened? Why is it that people are not watching this movie anymore? And I went back to our comment section and I see Shegun's comment, and I go ahead and delete it, or we respond to it, and we counter respond to it by inviting a celebrity to do a positive response or positive comment against that, and that corrects the negative feedback that we are having. Can you see that? So I many of you will agree with me that visualization is not just some kind of a joking thing in data science. Please, I want to see your your reaction in the chat session before we move ahead. You agree, Joseph? Okay, Joseph agreed with me. Okay, Raphael agreed. Okay, Lily agree. Okay, agree with me. It gives you an idea of the results at a glance. Awesome. That is just it, at a glance. Very true. Okay, but we have a problem here. Somebody asked a question that where we have x is equals to MPDs, can we change the value? And what is the impact of the graph? Yeah, we can change the value. Okay, it helps decision making. That's good. That's good. Okay. Now, somebody said, can we change this? We can change it. We can change. That's not a problem. If I change this from probably, let's change it from the step should now be 0.45. And I run this cell. Can you see our graph now? Can you see the difference between our graph now? Can you see the difference now? Okay, so if you change the value, expect the graph or the plot to change as well. Okay, now I need to move very fast. We are spending too much time on explanation. Now, subplot. Olakule, do you have any question? You're raising your hand. Olakule, please go ahead. Olakule. Okay, no question. Thank you. Okay, so what do we mean by subplot? This is just a single plot here, a single plot here. But what if I want to have a plot here, another plot here, another plot here, another plot? Subplot means a subplot, like another plot in a plot itself. So let's just, before we go through the code, this is plot 1 and this is plot 2. Can you see that these are two subplots? The main canvas here, the main figure here is from this boundary to this boundary. That's the main figure, right? You will see that. Okay, let me just put this here. Let me copy this guy and put this here. Let's put this is subplot, but I want the main figure to be 15 by 5. Can you see now? My main canvas is now 5 by 15, but my subplots are what? they are what? They are embedded in my what? In my main canvas. So subplot is just like you having other plots in other smaller plots in what? In a canvas, right? And the way we do that is just PLT subplot. And PLT subplot, we give room for other plots to be done as well. If I remove this guy, let's just remove this one and run this cell. You see that I only have this first plot. This place is empty, right? But if I put it back, then this place is no longer empty. It has been filled with what? The second plot. So what is the meaning of that? PLT, the subplot, takes 3 arguments for now. It takes that in the first row, the first one is the first row. If you don't know how to read this, you can just check Shift Tab. You see it here, the args here. It's a number of rows, number of column, and where do you want to place this particular plot? Do you get that? That is the position. So the number of rows, number of column, and the index on which you want to place the what? The plot, right? Okay. Now, this first plot, we are putting it in the first row, right? The second column and index what? Index 1. One row, that is the first row, second column, and put it in index what? Index 1. And we are just putting our plot here. If I remove this plot, let me remove this plot, you'll see that this will give us a sub canvas. We just give us a sub canvas, an empty what? An empty canvas. Can you see it? It's like dividing your graph sheet, right? But now inside this subplot, this canvas that you've created for me, put this plot there. And that is why we now have this plot there, right? Then we put a title as what? Our first what? First plot, right? Now the same thing goes to the second one. We say that PLT.subplot, that is the first row, second column in index 2. Place this plot there. Can you see that? So that's how the subplot works. And now, since we have the 2 plots, let me remove this guy. These are plots. But what if we want to adjust the line between these 2 plots? Like, what if they are overlapping or we want them to be jointly close together, right? That's where we have adjusting what? Adjusting the what? Adjust the horizontal space. That is, adjust the space between the subplot. And we're just adjusting it by 0.4, right? So if I run it, I have a space of 0.4 between these 2 plots, right? Then we put a subtitle. So I think we have a question. Can we put our first plot in index 0 position? Of course. Let's see. Let's try it out. Index 0. No, in our indexing here should start with 1, right? Because it's a graph. But anyway, let's try it. Index 0, we have an error. And what's our error saying? Number must be 1 less than equals to number less than equals to 2, not 0. Like I said, this one is graph and not yeah, it's a graph. So it starts with 1, then we go to what? We go to 2. Okay, does that answer your question? Yes, and we are back to it. Okay, let me see how far we've gone. Okay, we are almost there. Now, that's that about subplot. Do you have any other question on subplot? Okay, can we put our first plot in index 0? I've answered that. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, now, other plots for visualization, or other platform for visualization include, like I mentioned, I said Power BI, Excel, Tableau. These ones are industry materials and tools that you can use for your what? For your visualization, right? Okay. So, and there are many other ones. But now we want to do classwork. Who is excited about this? Who is excited about this? Okay, participant. Okay, let's see. Okay, Ibrahim, go ahead. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So we have a lot of people that are raising their hand. Just Ibrahim, 2 people, chat session. We have, okay, great, great. Now, what do I want you to do? We are going to, awesome, awesome, awesome. You're excited. Okay, let's go, let's go. Now, this classwork will be different. It's just a simple classwork before we start doing data pre-processing. Load a data set and visualize the relationship between the features and the targets. Now, we will change this classwork to a simple one. It will be what? It will be, our classwork will now be plot, define X to be numbers between 0 and 20 with an increment of 0.1. Good. Now that's one. Define, okay, let's just change it. Define a variable X, like this. Okay. Now you define a variable Y. Define a variable Y to be equals to as sign. No, let us use sign. Let's use something else. Let's use tan of X plus sine of X. So sine of X, then we have the absolute value of that, absolute value of this, like this, right? So this is what we want your Y values to be, right? Now, plot X against Y. Yeah, so this is 11:21. I want to start seeing your what? Your chat on the what? On the chat session. I want to start seeing your plot on the chat session. Is 20 inclusive? No, 20 is not inclusive. 20 is omitted. It will be ignored. My network is poor. Please help me with video after lecture. Okay, no problem. You can get access to that on the YouTube channel. Now we have 5 minutes to do this classwork. Once you are done with yours, screenshot it and send it to the what? The chat session as picture. Five minutes countdown has started. The countdown has started. This is a simple one. It should be a simple plot for you, right? If you have any challenges, you can drop in the chat session. Done, but cannot send screenshot. Why? You can send screenshot. You can snap it with your phone and just send it. Or if you're using your system, okay, let me teach you how to do that, right? If you're using any system, you can quickly download this software. It's not heavy. The software is called Lightshot. Yeah, the application is called Lightshot. This Lightshot download. Yeah, this software, this first link, this one. Just download this guy and install it. Or you can just go to the official website as well. This is not official website. What is the official website here? Light shot download. You can just download it from here. Once you download this light shots, once you download it, light shots, and you've installed it, just press the leave icon, in your system. Then it will show like this. It will show something like this, right? It will freeze your this. Then you can just use your mouse to over click on the trackpad to do the screenshot and send it over. Light shot work on phone. I doubt. I don't know. I doubt. But if you are using a phone, it is easier to even do your screenshots, right? It's just for you to what? Press your power button and probably up volume key and there. Okay, somebody wants to see the question again. So this is the question. Just try and do how you want to do your screenshot. Anyhow you want to do the screenshot, do it, and yeah. You have 2 more minutes. Two more minutes. So I have one question in the chat section. I think only text works in the chat box here. No, these are an attachment here. Can you see? No, let me show you what I mean. Like if I screenshot this now, let me just screenshot this classwork and share it with you. You see that I can put it in the chat section. Chat, I paste it. Oh, okay. I think it's only the no. Okay, let me just save this. Shift 9. Let me just save this as AI. Then I go to the chat session. I click on this, and I click on my computer, and I go to downloads, and I click AI.jpg, and I open it. Yeah, I just uploaded something now. Can you see? Can you see what I just uploaded in the chat session? So you can upload it to the chat session by clicking on the file beside the emoji icon. See that? Great. If I click this, I can open it. Can you see that? That's awesome. Okay. A lot of people are having challenges sending me their screenshots. Okay, somebody just sent me the figure. Okay, that's fine. You can send me your code as well. Just mp.arrange this. I'll copy your code. I copy your code and I run it here. That's fine as well. I'll run it here. I will copy your code and run it for you. So this code is by who? Let me check the chat session. This is from Abdul. Abdul, you gave me this code. I'm gonna put your name there. I'll put your name there now as Abdul. So control this Abdul's code. Abdul's code snippet. Okay. Yeah. So let's run this. So this is the chat. Beautiful. mp.arrange. Okay. Sin x plus sin x. mp is the sin x. And oh, awesome. Well, I don't want to say that this is right or wrong yet. I need more answers in the chat session before we call it a wrap. I need more answer in the chat session. Okay, somebody else. I'm done, but I have an empty graph. Okay, you can just, okay, you can send your code snippets. I'll run it for you here. Okay. Whether it's empty graph or not, we'll run. So this is Keaton. Keaton's code, plot X and Y. Where is your X? Where is your Y? Keaton, you did not define your X and Y for me. There's no way I can know what X and Y is. So please revisit your code and let me have your X and Y. Because if I run this now, it will be running on my own X and Y. Okay. Who else is there? So Keaton, did I say Keaton? Yeah, Keaton. Please revisit your code. That is Olanike. Oh, okay, wait, I'm waiting for you. This is who? Olakunle. Olakunle said I should copy this and run. Okay. Oh, sorry, this one should be below. Oh, no. Undo. Clean everything. No. Okay. So I want this guy here, which is Olakunle, copy. And then I paste it here. And this is for who? This is for Olakunle. I run your code, empty graph. We'll come back to you. Empty graph. Okay, sent my, so Joshua want me to put this code on it. Wow, I can feel the energy. A lot of you are really, okay. This is who? This is Joshua. Joshua, this is Joshua. Run. Beautiful. This is your own plot. Okay. Okay. Print X. We're not printing X. Don't let us print X. Let us print Y. We have a lot on our screen already. Let's just run this. Good. Okay. Who else? That is Joshua. One more person. Okay. This is Olanike's code. I take Olanike's code. I include it in. Okay, that's Keaton. I put the X and Y there. Oh, somebody is just printing. God, we don't want to print. Okay. And when we run it, Legend does not support X instances. Can you see your error, Keaton? This is your warning error, but this is your chart here. This is your chart here, right? Okay. So that's that about that. So who else is there? I forgot to add it. Who is this? That's it. I forgot to add it. Okay, mp.arrange x absolute time. We've done that. Okay, so let's evaluate all these charts, right? Before we go to the answer, let's put the solution above everything before we now, we said our x is equals to, our x should be mp.arrange. You can type it manually, but I prefer to use arrange, right? So arrange numbers from 0 to 20 with a step size of what? 0.1. Great. Then make my y to be equals to what? Absolute value, ABS, of what? Of mp dot tan of what? Of x plus, okay, plus mp dot sign of what? Of x. I've even given you the formula here, so you just copy and paste it there, right? Mp dot tan of x. So that's my y and x, and I just want to plot. Okay, what does it say? Plot x against y. So I just say plot x comma y, and of course I love it to be what? To be green. I always like it to be green. Go. This person also used green. Go. Okay. Oh, name plot. Oh, sorry. PLT. Look at me. PLT dot a plot. Yes. So this is the answer to the what? To the questions. I still have somebody here with that one new message. With this Rashid. Okay, we will not exclude you. This is the last code we are taking in from Rashid. Let's quickly go down and include Rashid's solution to this as well. So Rashid, I have your code here. Comment Rashid. Okay, let's run Rashid's code as well. Oh God, let's stop printing X and Y. I can see that a lot of people just copy the previous code above and just stop printing X and Y. Okay, this is your own graph. Okay, now this is the solution. This is the solution to the classwork. What we have here is we find we quickly have numbers from 0 to 20 with a step size of 0.1, and we find the absolute value of tan x and sin x. Then we plot it, and this is what it's giving us. Awesome, this is beautiful. Which chart is similar to this? Okay, Abdul's. This is Abdul's. Wow, our code is just the same thing like Abdul's code. Wow, the same thing. So we expect to have the same result. Interesting. Abdul's got that one. Kudos. Can we clap for Abdul's in the chat session? Can we just clap for him with the chat emoji to clap? Yeah, Abdul got that right. Okay. Awesome, awesome. I'm gonna clap for you too. Let me clap myself. Yeah, I've given it to you. Kudos. Kudos to Abdul. The next person is Kiton. Kiton said that we should use this, then absolute value of np.tan plus np.sin. Then you are plotting x against y, but now you're not plotting x against tan p again. So you're doing more than what was required of you. The question says just plot x against y, which you initially did. You did it here. You plotted x against y, but now you are plotting x against tan this. So what do we do now? Should we still give it to Kiton? Kiton did more than what we asked her to do. Okay, somebody said we should give it to Kiton. So Kiton, well done. Let's give her now this clap is for Kiton. I think we should label the claps. This for Kiton. I just clap for Kiton. Please, you guys should also clap for Kiton. Yeah. Okay. Okay. The next person, Olakunle. This one, I think this one interests me the most. Somebody's having empty graph. You have your MP. What? You are ranging from 8 to 20, 0.1. What gave you the impression of using 8? There is nothing like 8 in this question. So where is the 8 coming from? Are you a fan of 8 or what? Okay, I don't know why you've used 8, but from what we could see, you have an empty graph number between 8 and 20. Guess is a mistake for 0. Okay, let's help you out. Let's change it to 0. Okay, and let's run your graph again. We are still having empty what? Empty graph, even as at when we have changed it for you, right? You're still having empty graph. So I need to move fast. So, well, for the attempt, we are going to give you an emoji, right? What's the name? Olakunle. So the emoji we are giving you here is not a clap emoji. We just give you yeah, this one is almost there. So what's the name? We put Olakunle. So can we just give Olakunle this emoji? Olakunle. Yeah. Oh, Olukunle. Sorry, is Olukunle. Yeah. So that's the emoji we have for you. Like almost. Yeah, almost there. Just a little bit more. Yeah. Yes, almost, but kudos, at least you tried, you attempted it. That's good. Joshua gave us this absolute tan sine p to the plot np.tan. Now Joshua did the same thing that Kiton did more than what we asked them to do, but nevertheless we just give them that same wow. Bethel is so generous with a clap. Clap for Abdul, clap for Kiton. That's great. That's great. Awesome. I like that kind of spirit. Awesome. Okay. So Joshua, that is your clap. You did more than what we asked you to do, but you deserve it. Rashid, your graph seems to be interesting, but what is going on here? Oh, you forgot to put absolute value. He just plotted np.tan and np.sin. So if I help you out and I put absolute value here and I close this bracket and I run your graph again, then you have what we needed you to have submitted. But then I'm taking off my absolute, and I'm giving you back your graph. So what are we giving Rashid? Rashid was almost there. We give Rashid the same thing we gave to what? Olakunle. So this one is for Rashid. Yes, almost. Yeah, almost there, right? Almost. Awesome. Okay, that's fantastic. All right. So we only have like 5 minutes more. Kudos, guys. You guys are really done well for the what? For the classwork. Okay, so let's quickly move ahead. Now, for what? For this part, we are done with synthesizing what? Data. We don't want to use synthetic data anymore. We want to get data from our system and bring it into the Python environment. So what we need is pandas. Pandas is another what? Is another package, and is the Excel of what? Of Python. We want to have rows and columns. So how do we use pandas? We import pandas as PD. Then what do? We can use pandas to read CSV. So we are reading, you might not be able to do this from your end because you don't have this particular file on your system, but I have it here. So if I read that file, can you see? I have, this one is not longer a what? This is no longer a synthetic data. This is a real life data now, right? Can you see? These are columns. And these are rows. Do I have any question there? What's that? Who is giving me questions? Kudos everyone. Okay, awesome. Kudos everyone. Yeah, you all deserve it. Okay, so we have rows here and we have column. Then with df.add, that is, see the df as an Excel file, right? So we can say we want to see the first part of the Excel file of the data frame. We actually call it data frame. It is pandas data frame. If you use .add on it, we see the first few records in that data, and that's that. So that's why we are able to see all this. And now if I do df.info, that is, I want to know more about this about this data frame that I just have. You can see the data frame that these are all the headers, which are the columns. I have the kind of the data type that they hold, and I can see that I have 8,000 plus entries. That is 8,000 plus files inside this inside this data frame, right? And each of the columns serves as identifier, addition statement, and the likes of it like that. So with the .info, we can get more information about data frame. Do I have any question there? Where can we get the data? Okay, you should get the data from the YouTube description. You should get it from the YouTube description, or the host. We can also email it to you, right? Okay, that's awesome. So that's that. Now, if you look at this data, I have a lot of columns there. Can I drop or delete some column? Yeah, it's possible. How do we do that? For instance, I want to drop the addition statement, corporate author. These are all columns in my data. And how do we drop it? We just create a list of what we want to drop, and we call the drop method on the data frame. We just say df.drop, drop. What are you dropping? You want to drop all this column, and in place equals true means that once you've dropped them, my new data should be the new existing data now. I don't want to see the old one that still have them anymore. That's the meaning of in place. That is, change it once you drop it. If I click this and I do df.info now, you can see before I was having 0 to 14 columns, but now I'm having 0 to 6 columns because I've dropped a lot of them. I've dropped them out, right? Now that's that about that. Now, each of these columns were meant to have 800 and something data record. But you can see that some of them has 4,000, some has 6,000. It means that they are missing values. They are missing values in the cells, right? Do I have any question there? Somebody was raising his hand, right? But I don't really have time for question now, right? With that, I just hope we have this workbook to review after the class. Okay, yeah, the host will do something about that. Okay, okay.
So that's fine. So how do we handle missing values? That is, there are missing values in our data frame. Every data set has an amount of noise, unwanted or unneeded data points in them. And it is our job as a data scientist to remove them from our data set. That is, we need to remove them from our data set. Okay. How do we do that? First of all, we need to find the sum of the null values, that is, those values that are missing. And how do we do that? We just call the isNull function on the data frame and the dot sum. Can you see? The identifiers has 0 missing value, place of publication has 0 missing value, but date of publication and publisher has a lot of what? A lot of missing value. Okay. It's almost time here for me to end this section, but then I'll try as much as possible to quickly finish it. Okay, we're almost done. Okay, so we now see that date of publication has what? Missing value, publisher has missing value, author has missing value. How do we treat that? Well, if we find the percentage of the missing values, 2% of the data are missing in the date publication, 50% are missing in what? Publisher and what? And for author, we have 21 point something percent. Now, don't get scared of all these code snippets. No, it is something you can understand. Data frame dot, check the null value, sum it together, multiply it by what? By 100, and you divide it by length of the what? Of my data frame. And that gives me my what? My percentage. It's just some simple mathematics, right? Okay. Now, dealing with missing value, there are many ways we can deal with missing value. Is it that we put in new values to fill that gap, or we remove the entire column that has missing value, or we remove the entire row that has moving value. There are many ways. So one of them is the fill now, that is fill empty what? Empty cells in the what? In the data frame with a value. So I read this cell again. Oh, sorry, we don't have this. Okay, no such directly as OMP. So I'll just comment this out. We don't need to finish this one as well. Comment this out. We are not renaming in this class. Comment this out. Comment. Okay, comment. Okay, comment. Okay. Now we want to use panel of phi now. What do? We just say df dot phi now, and I put what value should we use? We can put let's just put 5. Let's just put 5 there, for instance. Yeah. So anywhere that there are missing values before, 5 have been placed, but it doesn't actually make sense what we've done, because look at now, if there are missing values in date of publication, 5 will be used to fill, which doesn't make sense, right? If you have missing value in place of publication, 5 will be used, but we can just say, let's just put missing. Let's just put the word missing there, missing. Yeah, then again, we want to set our in place equals true. In place equals true. Yes. Now, if you check our df now, df dot, or let's just copy that. Right? We can actually type it dot is null. Okay, you can do dot sum. Okay, can you see now? Everything, they are up to date. No more missing value, because all the missing value, we just fill them with what? With missing in the what? In the data set. And we can then do further analysis on it by going into each of the column. Why is this cell missing? Was it that the data was not input, or it was a function of the database that didn't get, or we didn't fetch the right data, like, and many other options that you can explore. So I hope you enjoyed today's session, and hope to see you in the next class, and we can continue from here. This notebook will be sent to you probably from the host via email, or you can check the YouTube description section to also pick it up from there, right? So yeah, so the host will communicate all necessary information to you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm gonna stop right now. Stop sharing my screen. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So Babatunde, you have the floor now.
Hello, everyone. So it's good to have you join today's class. So we'll meet next week, next class next week. So all information, you find all information in the info pack. Always check the info pack for all information. So the class ends now. You can go over the recording on the YouTube channel. Check DSN's YouTube channel for the recording. So bye, everyone.